Okay, now let's get into our all music conversation. And let's start off with this video that Dennis shared with me this morning. Dennis Thompson, our sound technician this morning, about the concert yesterday, the free concert yesterday. And this was Sarkodie performing. This was publicized, but I thought not quite, like a lot of people didn't perhaps hear about it, but people actually went to the Independence
This
Square.
won't happen. You get to find that the individual artists are following. So if they did the activation, I've seen the poster with even Chatawale on it. I don't know whether he'll be coming because I know he's in Europe. And if they did the activation, so it means their followers will come. But generally, for them to get their time and do all the needed activations, that was not adequately done. So that's where we find ourselves at a disadvantage when it comes to that. But in the meantime, this is a big event. AFRIMA is big elsewhere on the continent, especially in Nigeria and South Africa or Eastern Africa. When it's held, you get to have people, the creme de la creme of the socialite or the entertainment industry coming to attend and witness. And we shouldn't think that it's anything that we can just sweep.
We'll find out this morning when we speak to our guests whether we've taken it on the same level as other
awards
countries would if they had the opportunity to host this one. We have some powerful musicians in our country because of this and the awards as well tomorrow. So we'll talk about all of that. But we will also hear from the tourism minister, Catherine Afeku, talking about this concert. We know that she worked so hard to get us to host it. So
I think talking about the Independence Square and the crowd that needed to herald whatever activity, I'm thinking that they could have done better because Independence Square is big. Yeah. If you look at ICGC, they're having their events there, the people that come, and even other concerts that have been convened there. You find.
So you think this could have been bigger than what?
Yes, it could have been. Because Sarkodie is big, man, and it's for free, right?
Yeah.
So maybe.
Okay.
Everything I'm ready for the show. I said I'm going to go. Okay, I don't know what to go. Okay, let me show you how it goes. I don't know who they show. This is to my niggas on the block. I wouldn't let you go. Okay, we're trying to rap a holiday. They know me that's the woman they call. Niggas tell my boys, you can't let me hold back door. These be my tears to a cry. I think it's a little brown face. That's the one that says long cry.
That's one of our biggest artists.
Yes, Sarkodie is one of our biggest. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. We want to listen to the tourism minister now, Madam Catherine Afeku.
How much are we giving them before you go?
She just said that
I don't think it's appropriate. It's like asking D Black, how much did we give you for Kundum Festival? That's so lame.
How much is your salary?
Focus. Focus on the celebration. Focus on the celebration.
I
don't mind telling you.
Let's enjoy the music.
Enjoy the big up music, okay? Yo, let me use your
guarantee that they have the necessary resources to work with.
Were you here during the conference?
Yes, I was doing it.
So what else do you need to know?
I want to hear that from the minister.
Of course. Of course.
100% sure.
Excuse me. Of course. Yes.
I'm a bit confused. Okay. I'm confused, but I don't want to conclude. So when we come back, we'll get the conversation proper going. Stay with us. You're watching the AM show.
Well, so that conversation has to go on. We're talking AFRIMA 2018 edition of the whole event is right here in Ghana. You know, when it's managed and convened in Nigeria, South Africa, elsewhere in Eastern Africa, it's a big event. And we expect that it should go that way. Yesterday evening was that great concert, but we have to talk about it. Are we convening this, celebrating this, doing the pre-event activations like we should? And what should we have been doing right, or what should be the involvement of the artists and those who are in the entertainment industry in our country for this whole event? And Mamavi, we have the man himself here.
Yeah, we have
big.
He's a country rep for AFRIMA, but he's also part of the local organizing committee. Francis Doku. Morning.
Mama Vi.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has, indeed.
Yeah.
Stop smiling like that. Clarence Amwate will join us pretty shortly, and hopefully Prince Sugar can make it here in good time. But there was a free concert yesterday at the Independence Square. I checked out the numbers in terms of the expectation on your website. You said over 40,000 people were expected. Did we see over 40,000 yesterday?
Yeah, thank you, Mama V. I think we did. I mean, if we would count the number of people who were there yesterday, at least towards the middle and to the end of the show, I'm sure we would even exceed that.
Okay.
I'm sure if we see the videos, we see the photos, we would probably estimate that, yes, we may have exceeded that. Yes.
Okay, which is a good thing. But would you agree that the whole vibe, are we feeling AFRIMA in Ghana?
Well, I mean, I think that you should tell me. Are you feeling it?
I mean, I hear the adverts. I see it on my show because it's scheduled. But I don't, like, I thought the whole idea of bringing it to Ghana is to get some kind of conversation going, get people to talk about, oh, there's Mr. P in town, there's this person in town, that kind of thing. That's
the whole idea, really. I mean, or one of the ideas. But the main idea is to help put Ghana on the map, you know, through this particular event. Because in a very short time, you're going to have a lot of celebrities, big name celebrities from across Africa and beyond coming into your country. And I think we know what that means. It means that they're going to be talking about it on their social media, on different platforms. There'll be a lot of media coming from international media to cover Ghana and all that. So that would help put Ghana on the map. It also means that it would help to bring people into our country. I mean, based on the good feedback that these people will take back to their home. So yes, but it's also a way for Ghanaians to be a part of the whole celebration. And as much as we can, we have tried to properly engage, you know, through different means, through the media, through front, you know, integration and interaction with the media, you know, putting it on TV, on radio, on our social media platforms, websites, everywhere. So we have tried very much to use a strategy that will make it go to people. But I must also say that it's the very first one that's coming here. Thankfully, we had the right for 3 AFRIMA, you know, celebrations, which means that this year, next year, and the year after, for 3 years. So maybe in the first one, you know, it may not have gone down so strongly as we had perhaps hoped for. But as we continue to engage, as we continue to do these things, I'm sure that the public will get to understand, you know, what AFRIMA is and maybe get buy-in and be part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
yeah, usually such event, and I was watching a couple of videos of some of the events that have been convened elsewhere on the continent, and it looks like it's where you have the best of musicians and entertainers on the continent coming together. Yeah. They also complement that by having the best of facilities, because the atmosphere is right. You take South Africa, Nigeria, they seem to have great domes or convention centers for events. How does that add or perhaps give you minuses as an event
we only
person?
have the conference center.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a talk about a certain music village. I wonder what that is.
No, that's not coming up yet. It's in the budget.
We don't have the music village yet.
We did. That's what we did yesterday at Independence Square.
Oh, so Independence Square is what we call the music
village. Yes.
Incredible.
Because it means that a lot will happen around, not just the music performances, but opportunity for people to, interact, sell stuff, art, and all that. And so it is meant to give a bit of a feel to the public, because most of the other events are things that happen at different places. For example, we had a welcome soiree at Kempinski, and that was for the artists who have arrived, the other guests who had arrived. Maybe if somebody comes to your house, you need to welcome them and give them water to drink before you be so. So that's what it was. And that wasn't open too much to the public. It was Kempinski, we only take a few people. And then yesterday we have what we call the Africa Music Business Summit, which is a conversation about how to help musicians, entertainers, and people within the creative arts to help grow their business. I mean, I'm sure you know that in Africa we have talent. People can sing, they can write songs and all that. They're good at the show. What we lack is the business.
The business side.
So the Africa Music Business Summit, at all the AFRIMAs that have been held, and for those that will come as well, is to help develop the business of music in Africa. And yesterday we had a lot of people coming from all over who took part. Now that was also a Kempinski, so
which is also limiting.
Also limiting. And then we would have the final event, the main awards at the International Conference Center, which is an auditorium that takes
super limiting
people, know. So the Africa Music Village, or AFRIMA Music Village, sorry, is meant to give the public a bigger feel, a bigger place where people can come. So we expect that a lot of people, and as you saw from the video, Sarkodie performing, so many of them were there to interact with us. So yes, that's why we hold that village interaction, music, and all the things that go with them.
If we take a look at the incursions that have been made by the Nigerians, especially across the continent, it could be because maybe they have communities located in each country, and so it helps their musicians also to have a mainstay in local musical industry. What could be or have been the collaboration with local musicians and the bodies that tend to represent them, for them to take something after the whole session? Because for me it's more like a festival for
Absolutely,
me, yeah.
It is really. I mean, the point was to look at how to engage the industry, the music industry, and there are some associations and organizations that embody, or help a part of the music industry. So we try to engage those. For example, we had a president of Musica, Obwo, and some of his executive at the Africa Music Business Summit yesterday. Obwo made a presentation, and a few of them also. So it helps to collaborate, to have discussions, and apart from the organization, we know also that there are some individual musicians who are not members of these organizations, so we try to engage directly so that we invite them, we have conversations and all that. There have been people with different experiences, successful experiences from Nigeria, from South Africa, from Kenya, from all over, who are here also to try and have that engagement too. So the thing about AFRIMA is to look at how to develop the music on the continent, how to have conversations and how to move forward. I'll give you an example. In 2015, Wiala was in Lagos for the AFRIMA. Wow. She performed on the stage, and then there were conversations. She eventually had a collaboration with a Moroccan artist called Ahmed Sultan or so.
Yeah.
And they did a big collaboration. It took her very far. She was known all over North Africa.
Yeah.
It took her to some European countries, and all that. So that's, what we mean when we say. So yesterday, for example, if you're a musician and you were at that place, there's a plethora of people with experiences that you can have interactions with and network and connect and all that. So it helps you improve your work.
I want us to, Doreen Avio has been talking to one of the P Square members, I think Mr. P. We'll listen to him. We'll come back and continue this conversation in the studio.
It's a mentality, though. When I travel outside, when you ask me what kind of music I do, I don't tell people whether it's Afrobeat. I just say that I do good music. When people start, this is where people have problems. They just try to separate the whole situation. Trying to say, oh, he shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that. No. This is Africa, man. You can't just say, because he put up my song and people are sad that he's not doing that for his fellow people. Sarkodie is one of the most humble musicians I've met here in Ghana, and I don't think, we're still going to have people that don't like you. Whether they like it or not. You think, if you like, Jesus Christ was crucified. What are we saying? So who is Sarkodie then? Who is Mr. P?
I think it's about time you and your brother just let everything go and work.
To be honest with you, I don't want to talk about it. No, it's okay. Come on. I don't want to. AFRIMA is like the Grammy Award for Africa, and it cannot just be held only in Nigeria, South Africa, and the rest. It should be done in Ghana. I'm sure next time they should take to East Africa, the rest of the African country. And one good thing about African music brings people together. And I'm here seeing some of my colleagues that I've never heard of or seen before, but I realize they're big as well in their own country. So I feel honored.
All right, so Doreen Avio speaking to one half of P Square. So people taking advantage, entertainment journalists taking advantage and having different conversations with all these artists in Ghana. But Francis, one of the criticisms, one of the things I heard yesterday was the fact that not all the big artists that we're expecting in the country have arrived yet. Is that true?
Well, as of yesterday, most had arrived.
Okay.
That were expected had arrived. The thing also is that usually some of these artists plan their year and, accept or decline gigs based on, how they plan their year. Unfortunately, we had to shift the date of AFRIMA. Usually it's held in either first week or second week in November. So this year, again, because of the back and forth between the AU and when to give the rights and all that. So a few, shifted their calendars a bit. So that might have been the reason why some of those who we expected to be, couldn't make it. But I think that we've had a lot of big stars.
So who's here?
Well, for example, we have Victoria Kimani from Kenya here. We have Nasty C from South Africa here. We have Dipendi from Cameroon who's here. We have Peter, Mr. P, formerly of P Square, who is here. We have Two-Face Idibia here. Dibanch will be here. We have artists from Congo. We have Stanley Eno from Cameroon. So many others, are here as well. So, well, I don't know who else could be here that's not here. Yeah, we'll have, for example, Tiwa Savage coming. Should be performing at the main event tomorrow.
Okay. So there are others who are coming for the main event.
Absolutely. There's some who will be performing at the main event. There's some who performed yesterday at the AFRIMA Village. There are some who were at the music business festival as well, summit as well, because they came in time. There's some also who were at the soiree, the welcome soiree, because they came in time to be a part of that. So, I mean, I'm sure you know that, you know, moving people from their country, you know, planning those travel trips and logistics, you know, and all that takes a bit of, you know, time. So that's it. A lot of people that you need to plan for, a lot of things you need to do, and I'm trying to do all that.
We fought really hard to get the right to host AFRIMA. There are questions that we're asking. Are we taking advantage of it as other countries would have? Are we making it a big deal? How are we using that to brand Ghana, the bigger picture? How much have we achieved so far? When we come back, we'll discuss that. But we can just go through some of the categories for the award ceremony tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center. So you see on your screens in the bit, okay, there we have it, some of the categories for the awards. And we'll also be joined by Clarence, who's finally made it here, thank God. So Francis, I mean, if you look at the caliber of people that we're fighting with, are we just hosting, or like we said with the Black Queen said, I'm not sure how much of it we'll achieve. Are we hosting and winning?
It's very important that you ask that, because anytime I have any opportunity to talk about AFRIMA, I've chipped that in to say that, look, we don't have to sit here for people to come and pick all the awards and go, and our stars are people who have been nominated won't win any. Unfortunately, or is it fortunately, the only means by which an artist will win is for votes. It's 100% voting online. And we try to continuously say that go to afrima.org and vote for the Ghanaian nominees. I mean, we all should support our own, as we say. You know, so it's the only way that artists will win. It's not something that is presented. It's not something that is given. You have to earn it. And by earning it, you need to rally your base to vote for you. So I can't say whether we'll win in all the categories that artists have been nominated, or we'll lose, or win some and lose some. But it's out there. The voting ends today. And so as much as possible, we can still continue to push until something
I'm trying
happens.
to get my side screen with the categories well positioned in, so we can run through the categories. But let's welcome you, Clarence, onto the conversation. Yeah, I thought we would talk about the branding bits with you.
Brand guru.
So it's a good thing that we're hosting AFRIMA, correct? We rushed it though.
We did, and that has always been my point, that we've not milked it like we have to do. I mean, there's AFRIMA happening, there's the women's football thing happening, there's a lot of things, and there's not been a lot of focus on the AFRIMA, at least among the entertainment people we know. But it goes beyond that. AFRIMA is supposed to be something for the country. We should all be part of AFRIMA. We should all celebrate that, yes, this African is the biggest entertainment thing in Africa.
Is our Grammys.
Yes, it's coming to Ghana. So it's a big deal. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to do it that way.
Why did we rush it? we needed it so badly. We could have allowed it to go to another country.
No,
and
we
didn't
rush
next
it.
year.
We didn't rush it. The fact has to be said that the hosting rights for AFRIMA for any city or country is for 3 years. You know, so it means that you wait for another 3 years to get it. And I should say that they started from last year, about a year ago, when the Minister of Tourism was in Nigeria, was in Lagos to be at AFRIMA. I think he saw this big thing and said, wow, how can this be so big? And many people in my country haven't heard about it, and we haven't even made an effort to host it. So can we try? So yes.
That's the problem. You don't just see something and say, wow, I want to do it.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem.
No,
Francis, I'm telling you that
it
wasn't rushed.
Steps you need to take.
Yeah, of
before
course,
you,
of course.
you
Those steps, I'm sure, were taken, and it's just the instant thing that, okay. I mean, I'm sure that anybody who was at the Independence Square yesterday, or was at the African Music Business Summit yesterday, we'll have a different view of what AFRIMA is. The experience changes you. You know, so you would ask questions about, okay, can we also do this? Fortunately, it was just about the time that Lagos had ended its right to host AFRIMA, so it could go to other countries that want to. So there were bids that were presented by countries like Mozambique, like Equatorial Guinea, like South Africa, Morocco, and all that, and Ghana also bidded. And this had started from around last year after AFRIMA in Lagos till the AU decided that they would do the calendar unveiling in Ghana, you know, and so the process had been going on. When they came to look at our facilities, they had conversations with the president, you know, and all that, and that eventually culminated into it coming. So it is the decision making, not the process of bidding, but the decision eventually that a bit delayed a bit. But there have been conversations ongoing about it coming here. So yes, I think that. And again, I'll say, as I said earlier, before Clarence came, that it may be also because it's the first time that it's coming here.
So we'll get better next year.
We have
and the third year would be...
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I believe that. The first year will be difficult, it will be challenging, and it has been challenging. But those are things that happen to organizing such major projects as AFRIMA. And so you learn from it and move on. And, you know, as we move on...
I wonder what would change. The conference center would not change because we haven't started any new facility. You talked about the Kempinski being not too big to accommodate and limiting. So essentially, we have very limiting facilities. I wonder what would change.
Well, I mean,
Clarence, I want Clarence.
I don't know if I can just say that. Okay. You know, we've had in the last year the dome at the trade fair, which is a big facility which can hold big events.
The Fantasy Dome. The
Fantasy Dome. But unfortunately, why AFRIMA is not there, it's because of the technical height of, you know, things, camera height, you know, and all that. But I'm sure that there's possibility that there could be another place which marks or ticks all the boxes, and you can have your event there. Oh man, the government can build a cathedral for events. Before the next one.
And that's a good point Francis made, and I was coming to that we need to have a real look at our facilities. They're not international events friendly. The fact that we do Ghanaian events there doesn't mean, well, we can do a continental event there. The Fantasy Dome has serious challenges, and there are a couple of venues that I don't want to mention, but event organizers know sound people struggle to get the sound right there. The acoustics of the halls are just bad, and we're hosting the whole Africa here. That's why I maintain my position that you learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. We need to go step by step. I mean, tick all the boxes. Okay, we have this. Then if they come, what's the point? Are we going to use it to drive tourism? What are tourism outlets like? Position them well so they come, they continue, so people keep coming back. But people come, and there's a tour today to see tourist sites, and then but what really are we showing at Cape Coast Castle?
I think that I differ with Clarence. I mean, to a point, you know, that he knows, and he organizes one of the biggest events, or he helps organize one of the biggest events in this country. The Jazz Festival. It's a big event. It brings down some of the biggest artists in the world, not just Africa, in the world.
So you wonder where they take them on tour?
I mean, no, not the tour per se. Yes, of course, as well. But it happens at the International Conference Center. I mean, I've been to a few jazz festivals in Johannesburg, in Cape Town, and I've seen the sheer size of the place, the auditoriums where these things happen. And if we're going to go by that, then we shouldn't even have a jazz festival at all. My point is that we can never be ready. I mean, our people need to be entertained regardless of what facilities we have. And we may just have to do with what we have. If we can do it, and do it. For example, tomorrow we're having the final event, the award itself, at the International Conference Center, which takes a capacity of 1,800 people. and so only a few people will experience it. But it goes beyond just the auditorium. It's a television, made for television thing, so many people else will experience it. And so as much as our facilities currently are limiting, it shouldn't stop us from entertaining ourselves and entertaining our people.
So Clarence asked a question, and I want you to try and answer it before we ask Francis. What are we using this to drive? Is it tourism? What exactly?
It's supposed to be tourism. I don't know how much we have used tourism to drive this. It's supposed to be tourism. And tourism, then the creative arts will ride on the back of tourism. So we showcase our tourist attractions, then we showcase our rich creative arts industry. So we have a couple of our playwrights are fantastic. I mean, our musicians. We have a couple of things that we should have really had a clear plan. And I'm not blaming the AFRIMA organization. Francis, don't get me wrong.
Francis is conflicted because he's a local organizing committee member.
I'm waiting
and he's
to
an
see
AFRIMA rep.
I'm waiting to see his column in the graphic showbiz next week. I want to see if he'll go hard on himself this time. But you see, Mavi and Francis, in Nigeria, was the government involved in Nigeria?
Yes, the Lagos state government.
Okay.
Yeah, the state government, because it was in Lagos, it was the state government that accepted, to have the rights to, and then supported by the federal. But most of the support came from comes from the state government of Lagos. I mean, in Nigeria, their states are about the size of, the country. So, yes, the state government strongly supported this because, and again, I agree to a certain extent that these things are the things that would help you when it comes to tourism. I mean, all over the world, most countries use big events, festivals. What do you call that? I think carnivals. Not carnivals that they announced 2 days before, but carnivals that are planned, and used to properly promote the country. And so I see these as one of those. But there's a need to properly have a strategy to leverage, that opportunity.
So who's supposed to give us that strategy?
Oh, I mean, the decision to bring AFRIMA here is a decision of the government of Ghana by the tourism ministry. I mean, the embodiment of art, tourism, and culture. So yes, once you agree to do that, then you need to have a plan as to how to use it.
Is AFRIMA happy with Ghana's organization so far?
I mean, there have been challenges, like I said. In terms
i.e., challenges such as?
Oh, challenges are to the size of the venue, for example.
Which you knew before you gave us the rights?
Which Francis is telling us they came to inspect before they gave us the rights.
Exactly. So venue, what else?
Challenges with accommodation. Okay. We have to use...
They came to inspect?
Yes, they did. We have to use about 8 to 10 different hotels, to... different hotels and move people around because
I think it comes back to the point that Clarence made, that we're also hosting the Africa World Cup.
Yes.
So we have a lot of visitors already in our country.
That's the point I'm making, that the challenges with that. But I mean, even that you probably found. I was just saying that when AFRIMA is held in Lagos, everybody goes into one hotel.
Okay.
Echo's hotels and suites. Everybody goes into one hotel because it's huge enough to take all the numbers, and the venue where the event takes place is the Echo Hotel, which you could have about a minimum of 5,000 people.
Wow.
In there.
And we don't have
yes, but I was saying that those are challenges. But we need to, find a way to go around those challenges, and be able to do something. I mean, if you're given a lemon, what you do, you make a lemonade out of it, right? Yeah. So we have.
This is from AFRIMA's point of view.
No, this is general wisdom.
So we give you hotel the Joko. You're complaining.
Let's quickly just run through some of the categories. I'm looking at Album of the Year, and my focus, because I'm Ghanaian and we're in Ghana, I'm looking at the Ghanaians in there. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's no Ghanaian, is there?
No, there isn't.
There is?
There isn't.
No. There isn't. Okay.
Isn't.
So let's look at Best Artist, Duo, Group in African Contemporary.
Is there?
No,
There is Kiddy.
Okay, there's Kiddy.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you look at that category, there are so many. Is there a limit to the numbers that can make a category?
Yes, there is. I mean, when the nominations were open from May, I think 30th May to about August, you know, and online, was done online, primarily on the website of AFRIMA, afrima.org. We had over 8,000 people put in their work to be considered, and the jury had to sit for hours.
8,000?
8,000 had to sit for hours and cut it down to this. I mean, so there's really no limit to it. They just have to make sure that it's within a certain. Sometimes you want, okay, why don't you add this, why don't you take this, and all that. But they listen to everything, you know, before deciding.
And this is strictly 100% the people's vote.
The nomination?
Yes.
No, the nomination was done by the
No,
jury. As in winning.
Yes, winning.
Yes, strictly 100% by the people.
So irrespective of the people competing with Kiddy, if Kiddy gets a lot of votes, then
Kiddy wins, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
If all of us decide to vote.
Yeah.
Okay. Voting hasn't closed yet.
It will close tonight.
Tonight,
yes.
Okay, so what do you have to do?
You just have to go to afrima.org and go to the nominations and then vote on who you want to.
There's Best African DJ.
Yes.
Best African, because, yeah, there's Best African DJ. Is there a Ghanaian DJ in there?
No.
Wow.
Maybe a Ghanaian DJ didn't submit the work, or maybe they did and they didn't meet the standards.
Okay. There's Best Artist Duo Group in African Electro.
Yeah.
Do we do this kind of music? What kind of music is this?
That's alternative music, you know.
We have Mr. Easy Akwaba.
Yeah, for example.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Easy,
Mr.
the
Easy
thing
is not
about
Ghanaian.
Mr. Easy is that we don't know if he's Ghanaian or Nigerian.
We have Patapa.
We have Afikojo.
Patapizi.
Okay, so that's...
But actually, Akwaba is Guilty Beats song. Guilty Beats, the Ghanaian DJ, you know, who put together that song and had Mr. Easy and Patapa and Papikojo.
So if we won, then it will go to Guilty Beats.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
There's Best African Duo Group or Band.
Yeah.
We're not in there.
We're not in there.
Okay.
There's Sauti Soul. There's Tufan. You know Tufan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And others.
Afiki Zulu. Yeah. Okay, there's African Hip Hop. Also the group category.
Yeah.
So there are some categories that clearly, I mean, on top of your head, okay, so there's Manifest. There's Christiata, right?
It's not hip hop, is it?
So Manifest features here.
Manifest, yes. We're featuring Kim Promise.
Yeah.
Minuwa.
Okay. Best Artist, again, this is African Jazz. We don't do a lot of this. Do we at all?
We don't.
Wow,
do
we do.
Original jazz.
It's jazz. We do jazz. Don't you go to +233?
It's
okay.
not original. Well,
there are some. There's some jazz, yes.
So there's rapper or lyricists. But again, we're not here. I'm counting the number of times I say we're not here.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
There's African pop. Francis, are we in African pop, the
There's
category?
Kwame Eugene there.
There's Kwame Eugene, okay.
Yeah.
So far we've seen Kiddy, we've seen Kwame Eugene, we've seen Manifest.
We've seen Guilty Beats.
Okay, all right. This one is reggae and dancehall.
There's Shadow Wale.
Okay, there's Stonebwoy.
Yeah.
There's Miss V.
It's Miss V.
Okay, that's impressive.
We're dominating here.
Are we dominating? Because I see other strong people featuring that we're going against.
Like Burna Boy, Diamond Platinums.
Yeah.
You know.
There's Pato Rankin.
Big in Zimbabwe.
No, this is for us. This is for Shatta.
So you have been through AFRIMA. I mean, you are AFRIMA essentially.
Yeah.
And you know how Ghanaians respond to these things. Even looking at our own Ghana Music Awards. Do we stand a chance?
Well, I mean, the thing about the internet is that it's an opportunity for all, you know. So if you can take advantage of that, it goes to your benefit. But if...
Will we?
Well, unfortunately, sometimes we don't. We are a bit, what's the word? We expect that things will come to us, okay? And if it doesn't come, then we have a problem. Everybody's going to...
That's a sentence.
That's
a sentence. You said what's the word?
Is this part of branding Ghana? Let me ask you, Clarence.
Yes,
hosting AFRIMA.
If done right, if all the boxes are ticked, if there's been careful planning from the beginning, it would have been. But what we have currently is not. So my next question is, after AFRIMA, we all want to see how much government puts in this.
Are we supposed to make profits out of this?
Well, I mean, profit comes in different forms. I mean, when it comes to destination branding, profit is not necessarily what you immediately get out of it. It is what would sometimes come down the line based on the investment you made. You know, so as much as possible, we can say yes, immediately, after AFRIMA, let's look at the tourism arrivals we have between now and end of the year, for example. Let's look at how people talked about us. Even if you can measure, for example, on social media, how many people mentioned the word Ghana while AFRIMA was here, and link it to that. You can do that. There are companies who are able to bring you all that analytics, you know. So yes, we can measure all this and see whether, but I don't think that we can put a price on the benefits of some of these things. How people will be talking about your country and all that. It's priceless. You can't pay for that.
Let's look at Lagos. Do they disclose how much they spend on AFRIMA?
I don't know. I'm not in Lagos.
Oh, you hosted AFRIMA in Lagos. We're just coming from Lagos. That's why I put that question to you, because you know that we played some clips earlier before you are in Ghana, before we started the show, and the minister didn't want to talk about cost, because that's also one of the things that people are asking. How much are we spending on this? So I'm not asking you the Ghana question. You are, and I'm not talking to you as a local committee member.
You want to go to Nigeria? Come to Ghana.
I'm talking to you.
You want to go to Nigeria?
I'm talking to you as a country rep for AFRIMA. You've been to all the events.
Not all of them.
Most of them. All but one.
And I'm asking, is it such a big issue back in Lagos? Do they lay everything there?
The point is that, I mean, people's money is people's money. If you spend people's money, even if it's just one city that was put in AFRIMA, you have to let the people know how much was put in. But I mean, that's not my job, you know.
This is interesting. Francis Doku.
Since AFRIMA, Francis has become, I'll get back to you, I need to check. Is this the same Francis Doku who writes his
He's become a politician.
No, I mean, but the point is that...
But let me ask you, do we pay the artists who come in?
Like the AFRIMA pays artists.
Yeah, like Mr. P, for instance. Like what is it? What's the deal? Like Tiwa Savage is coming to perform. There's Sarkodie performed yesterday. What's the deal? Do we pay them?
No, the point is that, I mean, you see, we do things differently in Ghana. Let me say this. No, I'll come to. I'm building.
I'm asking this is based on precedents. Like, what have we done in the past?
I'm building towards it. You see, and I'm just saying that we do things differently in Ghana. I've been a part of the Ghana Music Award for a while, so I know we do things differently. In many places, industry events, artists don't ask you, artists don't charge you to perform at those events. What you do for them is to take care of them very well, their team, make sure you give them the right hotel stuff for that, they don't compromise on that. You take care of their team that they come with, and you make sure that they are properly. Maybe you give them a stipend just for the fact that they have to leave on where they are and come and perform. But they don't charge you. Okay. I mean, how much can you pay Peter Square, for example, or Tiwa Savage, for example, to perform on a stage like AFRIMA? These people know the sheer size and extent of what it is. So they probably won't ask you to charge, but they would have you to, you know, take care of them very well.
So we will give them something?
Definitely make sure that, I mean,
but we're absolutely taking care of them, you know, as in flights,
absolutely,
hotel,
we're taking care of them.
Moving them around.
Absolutely, all that is a responsibility. Because, as they say here, they're sitting there somewhere, and you said, oh, come to Ghana. And so they will say, okay, yes, I'll come, but make sure that you do this, and that.
And just like South Africa will do, we have to treat them well, so they tweet and talk about us and post pictures of very interesting places in Ghana.
I mean, you and I
That's
have
how
been on South African hosting.
Yeah.
They take us there, give us 7-star treatment.
Yeah.
I mean,
so you can
thankfully Clarence hasn't been there. You know, so that's how it is. And so there are some who would ask you to pay. There are some who will say, okay, just take care of us. You try, you look at it and say, if I need this person very much, maybe I should go beyond what I do.
Who determines whether or not we need someone? Is it the tourism ministry, in this case the government, or this is AFRIMA?
Oh no, it's a collaboration. I mean, you because you're working with the ministry. I mean, the point has to be made that sometimes there's the tendency to load the AFRIMA stage mainly with local, or I mean, when you say local, they say local.
In this case, Ghanaian.
You know, or if it's Nigeria, or if it's in South Africa, you have a lot more of the artists from that country performing. But it's a Pan-African thing.
Villages.
You know, so as much as possible, you try to balance it. Yeah. You don't want it to be in this country with so many people only performing on it. We don't also want to be only so many, you know, of the country's people performing. So it's a balance, and so you work together with the
I'll end with issues with accreditation, because my guys have not received accreditation for tomorrow's event. I wonder what's happening. But Clarence, how do we measure what we have done after tomorrow? What's the, you keep talking about boxes and we ticking. Yeah. So what should we be ticking afterwards?
Mavi, at this point, I don't know if it's been done, but if you want to measure something, you set a baseline. So before we start, we would have, okay, this is how many people we're talking about Ghana online. This is how many people were coming in for tourism post AFRIMA. This is how many people. But if we've not done the baseline, we don't have the figures before AFRIMA. And after AFRIMA, you tell me that 200 people came to Ghana because of AFRIMA. I will be like, this is what we do best. We throw numbers at ourselves. We don't take research key, but there should be a baseline. This is where we are at this point. We are investing this much into AFRIMA. After AFRIMA, this is where we want to go. And these are the strategies we are going to adopt to get there. So I think next time it should be...
Did we do any of what he's saying?
Oh, I'm coming from AFRIMA.
This question is you as part of the local organizing committee.
I'm sure he's become a politician.
Because I mean, the ministry has a research department, I'm sure.
Okay, all right, let's talk about Francis, I beg, let's talk about accreditation.
I'm sure.
Accreditation.
Oh, you're not sure.
Why have my people not been accredited by now?
I think that anybody who went through the online process for accreditation should have had their accreditation ready by yesterday or by today for pickup at Kempinski.
Okay.
A few of the media people they took advantage of the business summit to pick up the accreditation. Because accreditation.
But Maxwell Amofia was at Kempinski yesterday.
Oh, he was?
Yes.
Then he left early, maybe. He should go back today and pick him.
Oh my God. How I am waiting for AFRIMA to be over so we can talk to you as Francis Doku and not this kind of Francis Doku.
I'm going to wait for his column in the graphic showbiz to see his story about AFRIMA.
We are closing. We have closed.
Yeah, so I can talk some more,
Okay, guys, listen, thank you so much for passing through.
Yeah, but I think that thank you so much, especially the media has, helped for us to, as I said earlier, perhaps because this is the first one, we're trying to, every product you've introduced, there's some level of awareness, during the beginning. As you continue to go, the awareness improves, and maybe you don't need awareness anymore. Brands like MTN, they don't need awareness. Coca-Cola, they just need to keep engaging their consumers, and all that. So I'm sure AFRIMA as a brand, it's just 5 years now. Will grow, and in Ghana we're just a day.
Don't worry, Ketsi, the tourism minister, people are, especially yesterday, people have been talking about AFRIMA.
Absolutely,
so.
Absolutely.
Maybe to
for all the good reasons.
Maybe in closing, AFRIMA is good. We need to take advantage of it. It's not too late. We can still vote for our people to win. But then for our guys in the tourism ministry, boosting of tourism in a country, it's a concerted effort.
Absolutely.
It's something you work at achieving. Not bringing, it's saying I brought AFRIMA so it will boost tourism doesn't work.
Absolutely not.
It's not a magician's wand. It's hard work, and we need to sit down and really think of how we're moving our tourism from this point to this point.
Okay, thank you guys.
That I agree.
All right, now the Accra Wesley Girls SHS is 15 years. There's a speech and prize given day tomorrow at the school's premises. Guest of honor is Samira Baumia, wife of the vice president. We'll have them on the show right after this. Stay with us. Roverman Productions with their latest play is also on the show this morning.